this is Scam Alert Week 4. I'm Jaclyn Quinn from the Delaware Community Reinvestment Action Council, and this week I'm going to talk to you about internet dating scams. And the reason why I'm talking about it this week is because recently someone came to me who was a victim to an internet dating scam, and I just think it's something that I want to let everyone know, and you can tell your friends. And hopefully some of these pointers can save someone else from the heartache of going through this. So, internet dating scams. When you think about it, you wonder, how can someone fall for this? But it really shouldn't be too surprising now that we're in this age of internet dating, and we have the Match.coms and eHarmony and some other sites where that's how people are meeting each other these days. And so of course, the scammers find their way to weasel in there, and now we all have to be extra careful. So, the internet dating really, it spans continents. Usually, the scammer really could be from anywhere. They can be in Africa, they can be in Europe, they can be here in the US, South America, really they can be anywhere. So, you never know. Some of the telltale signs for internet, for the dating scams, are when there are email discrepancies. So it might start off that you're talking to a legitimate person, but then the scammer hacks into that line of communication and takes over. So there you might notice some discrepancies. You might find that you do a Google search of the person and they don't really have a legitimate LinkedIn account or any other social media. And that's something that I think is very useful. If you do a Google search on any professional, you're going to find something that they've been a part of, some picture they've taken, some profile of theirs. And if you find absolutely nothing, then I say be very aware, because it's highly unlikely that someone has no digital footprint. But if you find things that they could be manufactured, then you really have to look closely and see if there are any discrepancies or if things just aren't lining up. Especially if someone says that they're a business owner or they're in, whatever field they're in. If you look and try to legitimize their existence in those certain fields, like if they have a business, look who the business is registered under. If they're a member of a professional organization, you can see if they're on the rolls there. So those are things that can really help. If communication is really vague or difficult to understand or seems like they're repeating some kind of script, that is clearly a red flag. If they respond immediately every time you send a message, then that's, also suspect. It's like that's their objective, is to sit there and wait to respond to you, and that's usually not how everyone's living their lives. If the email messages are changing in tone, language, style, grammar, it could evolve over time, or it could just be in one email you notice these things happening. That's something to look out for. And then if maybe the client's telling you, maybe the scammer's telling you a sob story, and then they're trying to make it seem like, now this is an emergency, you're the only one who can help me now. Like it's an urgent matter that you need to help with. Take a step back and think, do you know this person? Do you have to help? These are ways that the scammers really get into the heads and the hearts of their victims and take advantage of them. So when you're dating someone over the internet, you start to form a relationship with them, but you don't see them in person unless you're doing Skype or something. And that's always actually a good idea. If you're going to talk to someone over the internet, do something where you're talking face to face and you can actually see the person on the other side. If someone's unwilling to do that, to me, that would raise a legitimate concern. So if the person's not willing to do some kind of Skype or face-to-face, internet communication, but then they're going to ask you for money to help them out with something, don't give them the money. Just don't. It's not going to work out well for you. And then the unrealistic or fake photos. If all the photos that someone posts are absolutely perfect, most likely that's too good to be true. I know that most of my photos are horrible, and then one or two might be good, and I think everyone would say that. So, unless you're a supermodel and it's a professional site and all of the photos are done up by a professional, then you would expect to have just normal run-of-the-mill take it or leave it photos on your internet profile. So that's something, if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. So I have some other tips here, and I did a research online, and I found data from the FTC and from some other sites where they're talking about these internet dating scams and warning against them and ways to protect yourself. It's really important to try to do everything you can to verify the person is real early on, and really pay close attention to the little things. Even with email, you can kind of dissect it and see what kinds of words are they using. Does it seem scripted? Do you think they're just telling you what you want to hear? Be a little skeptical. Unfortunately, that's the world we're living in. You can't trust everyone. All right, if someone asks you for money, forget it. That's when you should end the communication. I don't think that internet dating is usually someone who's trying to use internet dating to find love isn't going to be out there asking for money. It's just not realistic. If there's any sign of scam, end it early, prevent yourself from being hacked or become vulnerable, and then you start willingly giving money. It's just not good. Engage in conversation and really, try to get to know the person the best you can. And also, when you're asking them questions, that's fine. But then think about the kinds of questions that they're asking of you. And, make sure that it makes sense to you and that you feel comfortable. If you can do online dating and keep it local, like limit your search to people who live in your town or in your state, that's one way to protect yourself. Planning a meetup and having a place to go to eventually meet in person is usually the desired outcome of internet dating. So if you're talking to someone online and they're saying that, they're not interested in meeting, that's really something to think about, and to me, another huge red flag. All right, so the situation that I learned of, the client was, he talked to this really nice woman online. They were dating over the internet, and she told him that she lived in another country and she was going to be moving to the US. So she was trying to get to know people before she moved, which I have to admit sounds pretty believable. And then she told him, she had her plane ticket bought and she gave him a flight number and everything. That's the flight she was coming in on. And then she told him that she had a problem with her bank account and she didn't have the money for the flight after all. And, can he send her the money? So he did. Somehow with the wiring, he had wired money over to her. Somehow she was able to hack into his bank account and take the remainder of his money after he wired the funds. He lost about $10,000 to this person. Well, he thought it was a woman. And after that, no word from them. So this person had even gone to the airport to pick up his girlfriend who was supposed to be coming over to the US, and the flight arrived, she wasn't there. So not only was he heartbroken, but then he came to learn that he had no money in his bank account, and this just really led to a trickle down of disaster for him. Not able to pay his other bills, you have car payments, mortgage, medical bills, you name it, and when what you think is the love of your life takes every dime you have, it's just a devastating thing to happen to you. So don't go into the world of online dating thinking that everyone you talk to is trying to, take your cash and that the world is just horrible and it's just a group of scammers. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that in a group of what is probably, really nice people and everyone has good intentions, there are going to be bad actors, and you have to do the best you can to protect yourself. If you do fall victim to an online dating scam, it's important to go file a police report. It might seem hopeless at the time, but it's important to document it and let the police know. Turn over whatever you have. They usually have some kind of internet crimes unit that can go and they do some forensics. It's unlikely you're going to get your money back, but it's worth a try. And then you can contact us at DCRAC to help with your credit and budgeting and, bouncing back from such disaster. That's something that we can help with. So as always, if you have any questions, feel free to call me at 302-298-3251, or you can email me at jquinn@dcrac.org. You can also check us out online on our website, and we'll post all of this on the YouTube video. And, we're happy to help. Thanks.